Rained all night last night, which isn't a bad thing because we do need the moisture. Just we're trying to get through harvest. And, like a farmer complains, it'd be nice to be able to get the corn and sunflowers done. But this delay, I guess, isn't a bad thing. We've seen just a little bit of sun yesterday afternoon. I got back into the field, filled some wet bins of corn. I was able to Carrie and I went out to the bee yard and pulled some strips, treated with oxalic. So we are relentless. When we get a chance, we will get our work done. It just has to give us half a chance. With that rain last night, I was dreaming about blooming canola fields and pulling in boxes of honey. Just a tease, I think, from this last season where things run just a little bit short due to dryness. Just needed just a little bit more. And if some of this could have come a little bit earlier, it would have been cash in the bank. But as this business goes, you just take it as it comes at you. Now that I have a little bit of an idea on what this unit is capable of, this InstantVap, I've done a little bit of math just to figure out what is going to be needed to treat enough colonies to make a unit like this viable for me. So these are just estimations, but roughly it's going to take an amp of battery to do 5 colonies at a 4-gram treatment. And you can maybe stretch that a little bit. We're finding we can stretch it a bit, but for the most part, 5 amps, 1 amp for 5 colonies. So that means if we want to do, let's say 6 yards at 40, so 240. So if we want to do 6 yards in a day into 5, so we're going to need roughly 50 amps of battery power to run these devices on a single charge, not including recharging the batteries. So we have a bunch of these old batteries kicking around the shop, so that helps. I have some reserve there. These are 5 amp batteries, and this will charge, like it takes an amp to heat up the element, and then the rest of the charge is for the dosage. So a 5 amp will roughly do 20 colonies or 25 colonies. So basically, pretty simple math is 2 of these batteries to a yard at a 4-gram treatment. So I went to Granger to see what they had for batteries, and heck of a deal. They have these 8 amp batteries for $250 and 12 amp batteries for $450. So I bought 2 of these and 2 of these. So these work out roughly to about $30 an amp, and these are about $37 an amp. So all said and done, with all the batteries I have on my plate, I have roughly 50 amps, which will get 260 colonies done, not including my recharge time. So we could get through, 300 or 400 colonies in a day if we really lay the coals to her. So anyways, that seems to be a direction I've gone now, is something a little bit more user-friendly, expensive, all the same. But if you do the math here, depends how big commercial you are and how practical, how much sense it makes. But $650 for this, $650, so $1,200 for the 2 vaporizers, and then 50 times 35, let's say easy math, so about $1,500 for the batteries. 1,500 plus 1,200 equals $2,700 to be able to treat a single charge of 250 colonies per day. So does that make sense to you or not? I don't know. There's a lot of other units on the market that are much more expensive than this and require supplemental type equipment. So depending on how you factor those costs. And you do have to appreciate the Apivar that I bought this year. I just wrote a check for. This is a one-time purchase. And the oxalic acid, not a lot of cost. So it's an investment into a treatment option that seems to work. The inconsistencies really bother me, but I think that's because of the variability of the weather conditions we have outside. One of the reasons why I've kind of leaned towards this is because this might be the ticket to treating my colonies indoors. No cords, simple application, quick. We'll see. I know it's not recommended. But winter is one of the points of time we need to be able to capitalize on as beekeepers. The bees are absolutely broodless. I'm doing absolutely F all other than other farm duties. I could easily spend, even a week just wandering through the shed, torturing myself, treating these colonies without any brood. I mean, we could be targeting these colonies completely broodless. Not only with an oxalic acid treatment like this, we could possibly take advantage of, but then we can also explore different options like CO2 treatment of a shed. That needs to be explored more, and that needs to, there's something there that we could do as beekeepers to target those mites during a time of confinement, right? Take advantage of these sheds, take advantage of the winter shutdown, and not rely so much on summertime treatments. Do a lot of our mass treatments through the winter period. It's kind of my focus, where we should be going. Just hit those mites when they're the most vulnerable. Just we need guidance on that. And you're not going to see a lot of guidance of that from a YouTube beekeeper. We're going to be seeing guidance of that from maybe these tech transfer programs we have going in Canada right now. Just to do a little bit of that work, just to provide the familiarity and the template of guidance to help beekeepers navigate through all the hazards that come along with this. As oxalic is very harsh and hazardous to our lungs, we want to make sure we're safe. And CO2 treatment of a shed, we don't want people to die. Every year you hear of someone going into a hog slurry or a holding pit and drop dead. And a guy come in after, drop dead. And come in after and drop dead. Just because shit happens when we're dealing with these dangerous situations. So if we're going to take advantage of such situations within our wintering sheds, we got to make sure we have the proper protocols in place and the guidance to be able to keep everybody safe. Farming is a huge hazard. We have to take it extremely seriously. And we also have to take on opportunity when it presents itself. So let's see how this all gets navigated through these channels.